Dwayne says we got a little time yet, so I'm going to share just a couple of experiences that God and I had together when we were in Nicaragua that I wasn't so faithful. I mean, it wasn't so calm, I can tell you that. I was a little bit scared. In fact, very scared. And I hope Keith Bruins is here today. Yeah. I hope Keith don't mind. I'm going to share one that him and I had. And I thank God that Keith was there. God definitely looked out for me that trip. Usually, I never made the mistake of going anywhere at night in Nicaragua. And it's quite a violent country. And we don't have the law and order there that we have here. There are no police. So I never went anywhere at night alone without the local people. But we were hungry that night, that first night we got into Puerto Cabeza. And I had a lot of money on me because they don't take credit cards. And all that money you folks had generously donated, most of it was on me. And I usually checked it in with a lady at the motel. She had a safe in her wall, and I didn't take the time to do it that night. I thought I'd do it the next morning. So we got a cab and went out to have dinner that night at a little restaurant right there on the ocean that we used to go to. And we got down 80, and I asked the waitress to get us a cab to go back to our hotel. And she did that. And Keith and I got in the cab. And we didn't go maybe 200 or 300 yards. And it's very dark streets. They don't have much light there at night. A back street in Port. And he pulled over, and here's these two young ladies and a guy. Pretty soon they hop right in the same cab with Keith and I. And those cabs are very small. Keith and I filled up the back of that cab real easy by ourselves. And these two young ladies decided to get in the back of the seat with us. And the guy got in the front seat. And they weren't very ladylike. And the taxi cab driver and this guy had something set up with these two ladies. And the guy that hopped in, he started covering the light on the ceiling, and these two ladies proceeded to act not very nice. And I was a little worried that Keith and I were in a bad situation here. There's no law and order there, so I remember looking at Keith and telling him I hope he's ready, because this doesn't look very good. And my Spanish was decent enough where I could tell the driver where I wanted to go. But he wasn't listening right away. And things got a little hectic in the back seat. And finally, I don't know, my mosquito wasn't very good. My Spanish is all I had, and I finally told them that we wanted nothing to do with them. We didn't want to go to their party. We didn't want to drink beer with them. We didn't want to do anything. We wanted to go back to our hotel. I told the taxi cab driver again where our hotel was. And he did take us back to our hotel. And I don't think I was ever so happy to get out of a taxi cab. Keith either. I think we couldn't get out of there fast enough to get back into our room. Like I said, experiences I tell you that God and I had, because if God wasn't with me that night, along with Keith, I can't imagine what would have happened. Because most of them have some sort of weapon on them. Kidnapping and murder is very common there. Well, all that money he had on me, I was so nervous Boy, if they ever found out I had that, I wouldn't get out of that taxi cab. You know. But when I got back to my hotel room that night, I did a lot of praying. You find out when you're in a strange country like that, you and God get pretty close. You spend a lot of time talking to each other. I even listened a lot to God and didn't do all the talking when I was over there. One night, we were traveling from Puerto Cabeza to Waspon. The guys here know it's about a 70-kilometer ride at night. We were late. You're out in the middle of the jungle and driving about 10 miles an hour on those roads because they're all dirt and full of holes that you have to stop for. And all of a sudden, these 4 or 5 guys come out of the jungle in front of us with AK-47s and stop our truck. And I thought, boy, this don't look so good. But they were trying to help us. They were the good guys. They told us that just around the band piece, a robbery just took place, and he wanted to warn us to be careful. And this is middle of the night, out in the jungle, so there's not much protection for you, and we didn't have anything. And again, I had all that money on me on this other trip. So. But the local people were very nice. They says, split it up with us. So I spread my money around that night to about 8 or 10 other people. I only kept a little bit on me, and we stashed most of it in the truck at places they couldn't find it. And we slowly proceeded on and got past the spot. Nobody hopped out and robbed us, but again, I did a little bit of talking to the Lord at that time, that I asked him to be with us in a special way. I'm not going to take a lot more of your time. We're late. But I always remember that time in the river when it's about an 8 or 10 hour trip upriver to get to San Carlos. And we never want to be on the water at night because it's kind of dangerous on that river at night. And the water was shallow that time of the year, and we couldn't make good time. And Cleto, our guide, finally said, "Gotta get out of the boat. Water's too shallow. We gotta push the boat ahead." And I had seen them beat off poisonous snakes during the day with their poles. And there were some gators. And I was a little bit hesitant to get in that water at night to walk along the boat. I kind of wished I could sit right in that boat. But we did that 6 times, trying to push our way through some real shallow areas going up the river that night. And again, Lord shared that moment with me, and he was there. I guess what I'd like to just remind you of, that we're not alone. All those times I was there alone, we're not alone. When times are tough, he's always there for us. And that's how I got through all those trips. He was with me every minute of every day that I was there, protecting me all the time through the good and the bad.